All right, Open Championship week. We are back at Hoylake where they were in '06. Tiger Woods won. 2014, Roy McIlroy won that one with Ricky Fowler in the final group. That was a lot of fun, but this is a slightly different course since then. They've made some changes, and you've got par 3 17th, kind of a reimagined hole, short, 136 yards. I know it's diabolical, real tricky green. Billy Foster called it a monstrosity of a green challenge. And there's some internal out of bounds out here, as you see on the 18th hole on Twitter. Adam Kirk took a picture. There's just so much real estate to the right, so much grass and just long wispy rough, but a lot of it is OB, internal out of bounds. So you got to look out for that. Landing area on the third hole is 18 yards wide, according to Rick Gaiman. RickRungood.com. Sorry. So yeah, this is a really challenging golf course for you. Got to be on with your driver. You got to have a lot of distance, but also accuracy there as well. So I'm going to look at the top of the board here. Obviously, you can't go wrong with Scotty Scheffler. 12,500. He's just one of the best players. He's coming in on a heater. He's just around the world. Has been playing so well, and I think Roy McIlroy as well. You can't go wrong with him having just won the Scottish Open. I'm going to start with Cameron Smith, 10,700. Cam Smith is on a heater right now. He's got 8 straight top 12s around the world. This is a guy coming off of a win at Live London at the Centurion Club. He's got momentum. He's got energy on his side. And in the majors, when he's been with the other big boys, right? And that's the knock on him being on Live. In the majors, T9 at the PGA Championship, and also 4th at the U.S. Open with 267s in there when he played at LACC. He gained 8 strokes putting that week on the field. We know his putter's his strongest weapon. That's right there. His chipping is so good around the green, to iron play. Driver, I understand that's going to be questioned this week because there's so much trouble off the tee, but he is got the momentum, I think, to be in the mix and give you a good shot in DFS this week. He gained 7.6 strokes on the field at a very difficult PGA Championship Oak Hill in putting. So, I mean, literally his putter is just as hot as it can be right now. And I think he's a player you got to look out for in your lineup this week. Go to Colin Morikawa next, 9,500. In his last start, he lost to Fowler in a playoff. Okay, so he's got momentum. He's recency bias, if you will, in a playoff at the Rocket Mortgage. He's won an Open only 2 years ago at St. George's in 2021. He adapted quickly to links golf, as we know. It was just being a brand new newbie to that. If you look at the different aspects of the game, right? Iron play, he's always been solid, but second this year on the PGA Tour shots gained approach, so good. His driver, he is 2 strokes. He's gained 2 strokes off the tee in his last 3 tournaments, right? So his driver's on. Then you look at the putter. He's gained more than 3 shots on the greens at Rocket Mortgage in his last start, right? So that's starting to heat up. And then I would contend that he's the best wedge player in golf, period. When you look at from yards 50 to 125, he is number 1 on the PGA Tour in that approach distance. That's your wedge game, right? You're going to have some of those this week when you hack out, or on some of these holes when you take advantage with the driver. He's going to have a lot of that. So iron play is there, driver's there, putters there, wedges are there. What else do you need? He's 5th in driving accuracy. He's a tougher golf course to hit fairways this week, a lot tougher than some of the other open venues. Keep an eye out for Colin Morikawa this week. And then you go down to Dustin Johnson, 9,200. DJ, this goes into our aggressive player mindset, right? He's got the most birdies this season on all of Live Golf, right? There's some pretty big bombers, pretty big heavy hitters when you think of Bryson DeChambeau. Brooks Koepka's having a huge year in the majors, but Dustin Johnson has been there. And now in the last 2 Open Championships, how has he done in links golf? Well, a T8 and a T6 in his last 2 Open starts. So this is a guy who I think this is the type of golf that's favoring him as well. He tied for 12 in 2014 at Royal Liverpool. He was in the second to last group with Sergio Garcia that Sunday. I know the finish wasn't quite there, but he still played some meaningful golf going into those final few holes. And he's coming off top 10 at the U.S. Open, right? So there's a lot of recency, strength there for Dustin Johnson. His last 5 worldwide starts, he's got 4 top 10s, including a win at Live Tulsa in May. So this is a guy who's got what it takes. I think he's got the weapons, and he's got the recent play to be a good play for you this week at Liverpool. So that's Garrett Johnston. And then going beyond that, Tony Finau, 8,200. Tony Finau has 6 Open Championship starts, and he's never finished outside the top 28. Okay, so he's, from the word go, he's loved links golf, right? This is a type of golf. He loves the creativity. He likes kind of finding landing areas short of bunkers, past bunkers, just plotting his way around these courses. 6th in shots gained approach so far this season on the PGA Tour. Tony Finau, I know he hasn't gotten a top 20 in the last, what? Hasn't done top 20 since April. I understand that, since his win in Mexico. But he's 6th in shots gained approach on the PGA Tour this season. He's 6th in tee to green, shots gained tee to green. 6th in birdie average. You need that around this difficult golf course where it's going to be tough to score on some of these holes. There's a lot of trouble. There's a lot of internal out of bounds. There's a tricky landing areas on some of these par 4s, par 5s. So he is a guy that will stay in the mix for you and keep scoring pretty well. And then he's 33rd in scrambling around these greens. I know it's a flat, overall flat property, but around these greens, these humps and hollows, it can be really challenging. So Tony Finau, keep an eye out what he can do for you at the Open Championship in links golf. He is a player who's dialed in with his irons, and I think his scoring is going to be a big asset for you this week. Adam Scott, 7,900. Remember what I said about distance and good driving? Well, he's 11th in driving distance on the PGA Tour this year, Adam Scott. Also 10th in birdie average. You need a guy who can keep scoring and stay in the mix in a difficult course like this. You've got to go after a guy that can score well. And then he's got 3 top 9s in his last 7 events. I know he missed the cut at the Scottish, but I think you got to overlook that. I mean, he's a guy that's played well on difficult golf courses like Memorial and places like that as well. So keep an eye out what he can do. He was 2nd in 2012, in, of course, in the Open Championship, and then the last 2 times they were at Hoylake. Well, how's this performance? T5 in 2014, T8 in 2006. Adam Scott, a really good value this week at 7,900. He's got 10th in birdie average so far on the PGA Tour this season. So you know he's going to keep scoring really well for you. As the golf course gets difficult, we got some rain coming in, especially Saturday, Sunday. He's a guy that can score well. And then he's 11th in driving distance. You need that on a difficult golf course like that. 7,300 yards, par 71. You're going to have driving distance up there, and he's got that. And then he's got 5 top 10s in the Open in his career, including really good performances at this golf course, T5 in 2014 when it was last year, and then also T8 in 2006 when Tiger won. So find me another player who's got that kind of positive experience on this golf course. I know it's not the exact same course. A lot of changes made since 2014, but Adam Scott is a good pick for you this week in your lineup. Corey Connors, 7,700 this week. There's so many good metrics to help, okay? 5th in greens and regulation. Okay, so he's a great iron player. He really brings strength there. His scoring average, 28. Okay, so he's going to get that done there as well. He's 12th in shots gained tee to green. So overall, complete game. And then also when he misses fairways in that stat, distance from the edge of the fairway, right? He's 6th on the PGA Tour, so his accuracy off the tee is really good, and it's what you need around a course like this at Hoylake. He was T12 at the PGA Championship, right? 36-hole leader. I think that's so important to have that experience, having played meaningful golf with all the spotlight on him on Saturday there at Oak Hill on a difficult golf course. So keep an eye out on what he can do for you this week. Open Championship record. I know he missed the cut in 2019. 15th in 2021, and he was 28th last year in 2022. So keep an eye out. Premier ball striker, and you're going to need that as the weather comes in with wind and rain this weekend at Hoylake. All right, Padraig Harrington, 6,600 as we go down into the 6,000s. 51-year-old. I know you're like, who is this old guy? But you know what? He can hang with the young guys. What has he done? Tied for 27th at the LACC in California in his last start in a men's major on the regular tour, right? Not too bad. He's showing you he can hang with the young guys. And then how's he doing on the older guy tour, right? Well, in majors, pretty good. He lost in a playoff to Stricker, a red hot Stricker at the Senior PGA Championship. He's been knocking on the door there. He's T5 at Tradition, T50 at the PGA Championship. Very difficult Oak Hill course. So obviously hanging in with the young guys there as well. T10 at Valero in a PGA Tour start there earlier this year. He hasn't missed a cut since January. He's got momentum. He's playing such good golf, made 15 straight cuts. Keep an eye on what Padraig Harrington can do for you this week. He loves links golf, two-time Open champion. This guy brings a lot of weapons to the table, even at 51. And we're going to wrap up. Who's the last one? We'll go to the 5,000s. Marcel Siem at 5,800. How's he doing? Well, T2 at European Open just last month in June. He made the cut in his last 8 starts. So he's got some momentum, right? He's been playing decently. T15 at his last Open Championship. That was in 2021. And then when you look at, okay, links course experience, what has he done at links course lately? He has 3 top 35s in his last 5 starts at the Alfred Downhill Links, where they play 3 different links courses. So keep an eye on what he can do. He loves this type of golf, links golf. And hey, you know what? If 5,800, Marcel Siem is going to give you some really strong value. Playing well recently and knowing links golf. So those are my picks for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe if you like this content, and we'll catch up again soon.